recording.
Is it episode 95?
It is 95.
Oh my God. Anyone listening to all of these?
These people are sick.
I know, I'm so sorry.
The more you listen to Inane Blather, it's like...
Right now, you're very close to a world war on this whole...
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, you poor thing.
Just beaten senseless into submission. Anyway, let's just let's get right to it.
Let's do it.
It's Inane Blather, where everything is...
This is absolutely lit.
And you're being led down the dark path
of righteousness
by a gang of
headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
I see.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking
exactly.
about. I've never heard that before.
We teach you every week.
Mental illness is when you're right wing.
And
capitalism is bad.
All from our favorite baby boy, Ben Shapiro.
Baby boy Chapeño.
Yeah. So we decided just to get together and do this. I mean, I decided because I wanted. It was just a very strange day. Shout out to our dad, who is in hospital. But he should be getting better. Yeah, he's on holiday in hospital.
On holiday.
Yeah. So, but I just came back from there and saw him, and he's doing better than he could be. That's for sure. Sure seems like. So, shout out to
old dad
Rooney.
That's what we call him.
Thoughts and prayers. Yeah. They all help. But other than that, so pre 5 p.m. today or something, how was your day going?
It was fine. I had to work yesterday.
Wasn't a great day anyway?
Well, I had to work on a Sunday, which kind of threw my game off on a Monday.
Oh,
but
yeah.
But
I hate that.
I also have the next 3 days off because I am going to Las Vegas, actually, for like 3 days. Yeah, to go see Khruangbin y Hermanos Gutierrez.
Oh, yeah. You're going to see some awesome music.
How do we say our hermana? I don't know how to say our sister, but
Nos. Nos hermana.
Shoulders, nose. Nope, that's knees and toes, not nose.
Head, shoulders, our sister. No, that's good. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be big. No, it'll be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen her in a long time. I haven't seen her niece, and I get to see Benita, me girlfriend, Vanita. She's been down.
She's down in Las Vegas?
She's just coming over for the show and then kind of maybe making her way up here or something, doing something.
Van life, living out in the Mojave, like Cousin Eddie in Vegas vacation.
She's like, shitter's full.
Up.
Yeah. That's
posted
Vanita.
up on federal land, It's just... hey, it's all of ours.
She's
just,
like, I paid my fair share. That's what she said. I support you.
Well, we do.
Yeah.
More than the goddamn wealthy
people with all the
do.
money. Yeah, that's for sure.
I don't get how that works.
Oh, how I wish I could believe or understand that.
Exactly.
Yeah, rich people?
They need to leave.
Yeah, I wish I knew where that was.
It's like a little bend over and I'll show you a situation, I think.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Now that's the first goddamn thing you've ever said that made one piece of fucking sense.
So,
nice.
Yeah, gosh, just thinking about this stupid goddamn country that we live in.
I hate this country.
It could be so much worse, of course, but... It's like, man,
we could live in Canada.
So much better. Yeah. Or when one of those really filthy countries, the one.
Yeah, they wouldn't even take the garbage.
Yeah. But, just going to a hospital today, talking about
Hospital.
healthcare and like, the costs or making appointments, even our stepmother, her dad's wife, was like, usually doesn't really get into this stuff. And she was talking, she's like, yeah, they always said before, that people from Canada, they'd have like the wait lists and all that. They'd come to America to be able to get care first, but I don't know if that happens anymore because you have to wait here too. I was like, I know, right? She said she had just she was feeling sick, couldn't go to an appointment for something decently important, and she could hear our dad like rescheduling it on the phone, where he's like, well, I mean, she just can't make it in. Can you get the next available appointment? This was just recently. Next available appointment, October. And I was like, exactly. It's insane. Literally 6 months.
Yeah.
Like when I was like, I mean, broke down, like needed mental help, and medication and therapy and all this, and it's like, well, this is who you could be covered by with your insurance. Here's a list, figure out who's going to work for you and set it up. You got your referrals, and just calling down a list of people like, practically sobbing the whole time, just trying to make an appointment. And we would be like, yeah, well, the next available, we can get you in 2.5 months from now or something. It's like, I'm having a mental health crisis.
Yeah, I hope I'm not dead by then.
What the fuck help does that do? It's like, oh man.
And
it's just a nightmarish system.
And
all following a school shooting here.
Well, or whatever it
elementary
was.
School that just happened today. Yeah, there was some sort of lockdown and shooting
near
thing
a
or
school for
something.
sure. And maybe just like a respond to a domestic violence, which I saw. Maybe it was there was a woman supposedly killed in that whole situation. But another thing about
The American people are tired of women.
So
what I think is like, what's amazing, like with our healthcare system and like with modern medicine,
everything.
It's it's seriously unbelievable, like what we're capable of. Kelsey and I were talking about it today, and just how like aneurysms or whatever kind of stuff going on in people's heads. I mean, back in the day, what the fuck did people do? There's no like treating it. People don't even know what's going on. Modern medicine nowadays, literally, let's talk about, oh my God, we can literally do brain surgery on people. You can cut into their brain and make them better. You can remove tumors. You can literally replace a human's heart inside their chest. You can replace it with someone else's heart.
So far that people like Ben Carson can perform brain surgery.
Yeah, a Republican.
And he's not even awake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it is so amazing. There has been so many advancements. It's incredible, like what we're able to do. And talk about like rural communities not getting that kind of, that's another thing about like why in places where there's not as many doctors, that's a thing that leads to wait times, is because there just aren't as many doctors around to do those kinds of things. So if you're in an area where there's more of those, maybe that's like possible to have a shorter wait time. But just having this technology where it could be, yeah, for sure. If you have more money, oh wow, what a shock that it makes life easier, even with healthcare. It just is such a bummer that really, like, all these things are possible. Yeah, there are places with like really cutting edge, treatments and things for a lot of different things, and that if it exists, it should be for everybody to have.
Yes. And that'll get talked up so much. It's like, well, our system, it can have its faults compared to these universal health cares, but everyone still looks to America for the innovation. We're the ones that come up with all this stuff. It's like, yeah, all of this incredible advancement in medical techniques and technologies and all this innovation all happens from public institutional sources.
Like schools
It's
and
because
stuff
of
a
our
lot of times.
universities. That's why this stuff happens. Like it has nothing to do with this fucking healthcare company making money, or a hospital making a profit, or drug companies, all this innovation. It's like, yeah, okay, but all of that still happened because of research at educational institutions and science that goes on with all these publicly funded and granted stuff. And then the pharma company gets to just make $1 billion off of it or whatever.
And
just look at the fucking COVID vaccine. Good God.
Just really don't care about like who does what, like why you need any sort of recognition and all this kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, cool. I mean, that's great, of course, that someone's doing this work, but the whole point behind it is not to be a leader necessarily, except for that you want to be a leader in this because you want to help people. That's like very much the whole fucking point of it. Who cares if you're the smartest
actually a meritocracy,
motherfucker?
that
like,
would matter.
Yeah, if you're the smartest motherfucker around this like cancer research and stuff, if you're not willing to share it or to like let everyone benefit from it, then it's fucking useless. I don't care how fucking smart you are and like how cutting edge.
You just made a
stuff.
cancer vaccine, but you didn't
solve world hunger.
Able to
tell no one.
Yeah. You're looking at your vaccine and you're like, what is it? But if you made like a miracle drug or something like that, but you didn't get it out to people, it's like a tree falling in the forest kind of situation.
Isn't that
it's like
Skrelly
so fucking
or
what?
some dumb fuck like that, where it's like, yeah, so you made it so it would be. Was that
Martin
what
Shkreli?
Did he do something with like some drug and making it like increasing
it was,
the price of
by 700%.
Yeah,
and like and then the only reason he ends up going to jail is because he of course it was all illegal, but was from defrauding investors.
Yeah,
it was like
all that
and
other
not
stuff
even
was fine.
defrauding them,
Yeah.
but in a way just not acting in accordance with financial regulations and stuff like that. Like just kind of propping up it's so weird. I was just listening to an old podcast episode today, and they were talking about Martin Shkreli because it was
He's
an
so
episode
cool.
from like 2017 or 2018 when they had just sentenced him. But it's like and that's just some fucking guy. It's just some symptom of
with a
this
shit-eating grin
fucking
on his stupid fucking
system.
face.
Yeah, and it's like, why do you think this guy was in this position to begin with? It's not because
He's so smart.
some evil genius trying to fuck people over and blah blah blah. It's like, no, it's because
I
the
wish.
infrastructure is there to make this happen. Yeah, if it was like that, then we could just put him in jail and things would get better.
How nice
but no.
would that be?
It's
And
like
he doesn't
someone
even
else
have
can
like
take his place.
a good point either. It's like, often in like movies and TV and sometimes evil guys
In
are just
media.
they're just kind of like one dimensional, but in a good one. Maybe they come from a place like they have like compelling reasons for, and they're just misguided and they really think that they're helping and all this kinds of stuff. And, they're like trying to do something with the system or whatever. But what we literally have the worst, most boring timeline to live in. Capitalism. I just wanted to make more money because I have a small penis. So, I just really had to try to get women to sleep with me somehow because this stupid fucking face of mine just really creeps women out and I'm just a loser and I can't get anyone to talk with me because I, am a loser who doesn't care about anyone but myself. So this is really working out for me to be in capitalism.
But on the other hand,
Capitalism is bad.
so
I
I can get into a
forgot about
position
that.
of power.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah. It's like you just be Harvey Weinstein or Martin Shkreli. And,
Harvey Shkreli
just,
or Martin Weinstein.
excuse me. So, in other news, Milan to ban pizza and ice cream after midnight and crack down on late night reveler chaos.
Does that mean
I didn't read
you
this
can't have
article,
those
but
like together, or you can't have them separately? Is it just like pizza and ice cream
There's-
combos?
There's something, there's those combos. Usually it's pizza, but you can get the pizza and ice cream combos. They're pizza and ice cream in a pretzel container.
Pepperoni ice cream.
I was just eating combos today because Sophia left the rest of hers in my truck. I don't even like them, but I was like,
I don't think combos are very good.
But Milan, I don't either. Yeah. They're not great.
They're not even good.
Milan is proposing a new law to ban ice cream after midnight in an effort to protect the, quote, tranquility of residents. For many, a late night gelato is a part of Italian culture, but this is in danger under a new law being introduced in the city. So that's something.
Milan is nothing without ice cream and pizza.
Wow, they tried doing this in 2013. After a failed attempt back in 2013, Milan is once again trying to get late night ice cream eaters off its streets.
The fuck?
With local. Yes,
Are you trying to be a
strange.
major city, or are you trying to be a big loser nerd? Like, what?
Hey, that's what the people want. You know, they don't want all these.
Then why does it
gelato
keep being a
slurping
problem, you know?
Party animals out there carousing around eating pizza and gelato after midnight.
Pizza and gelato. That's a
Like,
daytime
hey,
thing.
you go home.
Yeah.
That's how they, a pizza spaghetti Mario Brothers or something like
That's
that.
what they say. That
So
is what they say.
I've been watching all these movies, hitting the gym and watching movies instead of just going through YouTube or listening to Come Town. And I've been telling you about them. We watched all these different, all these movies that I've watched, and we're going to watch Starship Troopers when I come over next month. And I finally watched The Terminator and immediately went right over and watched Terminator 2. Great movies. Oh my God. But the first one was really interesting. I didn't really know what to expect because I haven't seen them. I've only heard about it. I mean,
Read about
I
it
know
in
I'll
a
be
book.
back. You know? Yeah, I only read
The
movies.
dictionary.
Are you gonna be? What was it? It's when Troy McClure marries Selma Bouvier. And he's like, well, I have been reading a lot of scripts lately. I find it's a lot cheaper than actually going to the movies. No, but one thing I wrote down too, it's funny how, at least for me, the perspective can shift on action movies because of real life violence. What I would previously see as like corny or over the top sometimes can feel straight up disturbing. So it's like, and like, because I love violent movies. Oh man, I started watching Fallout. It's awesome. But like violence, action can be a lot of fun. I mean, it's great, and I love that stuff. But sometimes it's like, so I was watching Terminator, and when I see the Terminator blast his way through an entire police station, gunning down every living person in the building, I can't help but think of like mass shootings. Like, and when it came out too, it's like, I mean, it's dark, of course, but it's just an action-packed part of the movie. He smashes his car in and just starts shooting every single person that gets out there. Just guns down like 17 police officers.
Yeah.
And when she's hiding in there and stuff, it's like, it's not like this movie suspense. It's like, Jesus, this is like really scary. Like, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And it's because of the stuff that happens in real life. It's
Yeah,
like
these school
movies
shootings
don't cause these things.
ruin
It's the
gun
real
for
life
us.
things cause me to
Yeah.
see movies differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was really surprised at like the kind of I mean, watching that, I was like, man, they really don't do the police any favors in this movie, and he kills a bunch of cops. steals this cop car stuff, and then I watched the second one, and the evil guy, the T-1000, literally is like a cop, is wearing a cop uniform for most of it, and the Terminator once again takes out all of these police officers, even without killing them, but makes them all look like complete fools constantly. And I was like, geez, this is really kind of
Terminator's ACAB.
James Cameron. Yeah. And then read about it afterwards, like, oh, James Cameron has literally said that sort of thing. He's pretty anti-cop. I was like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool. I was like, because this really that came across watching this movie. I had no idea, because I just think of, 80s and 90s action movies, and, you don't think about anything like that being anti-cop. It's like going back and watching the first Rambo, First Blood. It's very anti-police. I mean, and he's a Vietnam vet, and he's being chased by crooked cops and killing people.
No, it's very anti-police, anti, as in,
and
with
uncle.
niece and nephew, yeah.
Yeah, they're like niece and nephew and uncle and stuff. It's really
and sibling, and not sibling though, siblings of your parents. That's what it's like, your sip.
Shut the hell up, bitch.
Nice.
You're ugly. You're disgusting. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And I smell bad.
The Terminator, he said, I'll be back.
I hope you get ass cancer and die, you son of a bitch.
But then he doesn't want to wait that long. So he
just kills him.
Yeah. So for the 1% of people who would ever listen to this that just haven't seen Terminator, highly recommend. Real fun. That first one, I liked. I mean, the second one was awesome. Oh, that's another thing, too. Watching the second one, I was like, God, not only are police looking like fools again,
they
never solve any problems, but also the main, since I'd never seen the Terminator movies, you assume Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator is the main thing. It's like, oh no, it's Sarah Connor. She is just the most badass action star I've ever seen in my life in the second movie.
But
she's really cool. She's great in the first one, but she's not. But then she becomes a literal superhero, and it's this female lead. She's ripped. She's shooting guns and wrapping up her wounds and doing all this crazy stuff. It's just man, I feel like Sarah Connor versus James Bond.
That
who would
don't
win,
make no sense.
Thing, a straight up action hero. I was like, gosh, things are James Cameron. What happened to him? Avatar. Ugh. Bleh.
What are you doing? Yeah.
Ugh.
So forget about it, cuz.
No, I've just never even watched Avatar all the way through. Not really interested in me. A lot of people love them.
Honestly, what I think it is, super just predictable. That's a thing that's kind of just boring about that kind of movie. It's oh, so this guy goes, and I guess that's a very, whatever, kind of learn. He changes his mind, he's military, and then it's oh, wow, are we the baddies? And then, that's what happens. He's a military guy.
Funny.
It's and then they go there and they're gonna mine whatever, and they're gonna. It's indigenous. It's a straight up allegory for white supremacy, colonialism, right? And all this kind of stuff. Yeah. So it's fine. It's pretty to watch, in theaters or whatever. It's some of those were pretty stunning
IMAX
at the time for
cool.
sure. Too long. It's too long.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of
too slow.
Yeah, we've seen this
and
story
the steering
before.
Wheel
so
fly off in your hand.
Yeah, I want a good steering wheel that does not put me to sleep in 3 hours. No, that it just is just boring or whatever. It's just not very creative. I don't think it's the visuals of it, the animation team on it, that kind of stuff. CG. Amazing. At the time, I haven't seen the new one, but I know that those kinds of things, the aesthetic of it, it's pretty incredible. The work that those people put in is amazing. But
all this computer stuff, that's what was cool. Look, watching these old
the Terminator,
movies,
they actually killed all those cops. Yeah.
I mean, it feels like it. That's the thing. You go back, it's you could see all these amazing CGI now. But still, it's different. Like, it was blowing my mind watching Terminator 2 and all these like real crazy stunts and real explosions and the way that they did certain models. Actually, the first Terminator, because I love watching on Amazon Prime and you get all your little trivia things. And then I watched a Heavy Spoilers recap. He does it. I love that YouTube channel. But like a lot of it was James Cameron doing like guerrilla filming. They would get these streets. They filmed a bunch of it without permits, and they would have to get things like in one shot. And there were screaming cars around the street in the middle of the night in Los Angeles and stuff. It was really cool. But that cool. Second one is this huge blockbuster action movie. It's like, man, that looks so. This is 1992 or whatever it was, and it's like that's real fire. Like pyrotechnics and all of these special effects and smashing a semi truck into stuff, and it's like it just felt way more action packed.
Well,
like it
way
was
more,
really real. Yeah, it I don't know. It just feels way different. But and I was thinking, so we'd brought up maybe. So hopefully our many listeners. Usually they're, I don't know, they're just like...
Is that Doug guy?
Creeps.
Wow, what a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, we go into Avatar and we look around and we're like...
Everyone is stupid except me.
We're too hip. No, but that we could do a media breakdown for fun as a change of pace, like once a month or something, me and you, because we were talking about Team America and how we're going to get together and do that. And comparing stuff. So we're going to line that up. We're going to do something like that. Which is why it really freaked me out that because of Big Joel's video and he was talking about Team America, and I was like, you and I are both going to watch that movie again, and then we're going to watch Big Joel talking about it, and then we're going to talk about what we think about it. And I think it'd be very interesting. And then like the next week he followed me on Twitter and it freaked me out.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, guys, you're gonna comment on my commentary?
Oh,
be ready.
He was just like,
I could crush
guy?
you."
Wow, what a piece of shit.
yeah, and then he listened to every episode we had, and he's like, "Man, after 94 episodes, what I could say? Boring."
I hear you. Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be fun. I'm just watching all these films. Randomly, one that was available on Hulu or something. I was like, oh, I have this. It was in my watch list. I watched Get Shorty last night.
Oh, nice.
And it just reminded me when you said that it kind of sucked. I've been like trying to catch up on all these things I haven't seen. So I've watched all these great movies over the last couple months. And I'm like, hey, that was a really fun, good movie, but the ending was pretty telegraphed. I was like, I saw all that coming. There was no twist. I was like, this movie had everything. These great acting, really fun, good music, no twist. Didn't have a good twist, you know? They just couldn't pull it together.
No twist. Yeah.
Gene Hackman, Rene Russo, John Travolta, all these guys.
No twist.
And no twist, you know? And so I say straight to jail.
Straight to jail. Believe it or not, straight to jail. You know what?
You need a twist.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or else you're going to get this. Okay. Well, that was a good waste of time. I was talking about getting scared from watching The Terminator because, yeah, I mean, the very first person he kills, he just walks up and he's trying to kill Sarah Connor, and he goes to the first Sarah Connor that he saw in the phone book, some completely different lady named Sarah Connor, and just walks right into her front door and guns her down in her house. And it's like, oh my God.
Oopsies. Yeah, gun violence, it was really ruined by all those school shooters, you know? It's really unfair
it's like,
that we have to deal with that now.
I wish I could just have James Cameron action movies with gun violence and not think about the fact
all the dead children.
Yeah, that someone that we know was shot to death in public in a Fred Meyer.
I know. I was just thinking about him, actually, today.
So
Yeah, so good times. Great
Yeah.
oldies. Cherry FM 95.7.
To lighten the mood, OJ Simpson died. We didn't bring it up on the show.
Yeah, he did.
But it was funny. I learned that OJ Simpson allegedly did the murder on my 6th birthday. That was on June 12th, 1994.
Sweet. That's so sweet.
By the way. But also it reminded me, it's like just the media frenzy, the way, and it's really
Fuck O.J.
funny the way
Simpson.
that kids interpret things, because I just always have this memory. I was like, man, this was all happening at the same time. And I remember this correctly, right? Because I looked up, I was like, when was the OJ trial going on? And when did The Lion King come out? And I was like, okay, I am remembering this right. Because there were Lion King toys at McDonald's. And I remember just this comment, I think it was David. I'm going to say people's last names on the show, but I went to school with David, and he's kind of a troublemaker even back then. But he was like,
our neighbor.
We were at McDonald's, and he there was this toy that you could get that was like Simba up on Pride Rock. He was like on it. He had like Pride Rock. And so he picked it up the other way, of course, to look like a gun. And he was like, look, it's me. I'm OJ Simpson. It's like, that was the thing. If you're saying, I'm OJ Simpson.
It's funny,
like,
except for
then, it's like,
he used a knife,
I'm
though.
I'm that murdering guy. But yeah, that's just what you thought as a kid. It's like, oh, that murder guy.
Yeah, he murdered those people, you know?
Oh, man. And
he
even
sure
back
did.
then, or to this day, people. I was talking to our dad about it a couple weeks ago, or just last week, I guess. But because he's like, yeah, and it's just what a disgusting guy, and all this. Like, it's crazy he got away with that, and everyone knew. And I was like, yeah, but you just there's so many things to say about exactly that. Because it was almost so obvious, especially after his book, after the weird things that he'd done, his history of brutal domestic violence.
He's exactly the kind of guy who would murder his partner or his girlfriend or his ex.
It's like, number one, it shows how incompetent the LAPD was. And number two, shows how much the LAPD was hated because of their incompetence and racism. And it's like, it's only 2 years after Rodney King, and people were, because he's like, yeah, I didn't get it. People were cheering when he was acquitted. It's like, yeah, because you wouldn't believe anything that the LAPD said, especially if it was a well-known black man. It's like, that's how bad they were, is something so seemingly cut and dry as the OJ Simpson thing. It's like, yeah, I knew it. Of course the LAPD was just fucking with him. They're horrible. It's like, that's how bad they were.
Except for that it's so incredibly frustrating. You know, all of that is like, except for the LAPD, if he wasn't OJ Simpson, he would have been treated like Rodney King. If he wasn't a celebrity, he would have had his tires shot out while he's leading him on a low-speed chase. Are you fucking joking me?
TV.
They would have lit him. They would have lit his ass up. He'd be dead in the car if he was just like a black guy. He was treated like a rich person, which is mean you're treated like you're white. So that's exactly the kind of treatment he got. Was definitely innocent until proven guilty, which is what everyone should have, of course. But it just really, it's really too bad. Humby and I were talking about this the other day. You know what's a bummer? Is exactly that. It's about the LAPD not having to see any accountability, and then OJ literally got away with murder because of it. This woman and this man, okay, she was almost beheaded because she was stabbed so much. She was stabbed time after time. It was like someone like really like like violently murdering someone exactly like a domestic abuser would do, exactly like someone with a history like OJ Simpson, huge, big professional athlete would be able to have
calls and stuff like.
It's really like blood everywhere, just stab wounds all over both of their bodies. And then those people have families and they just never ever get to feel like there's any sort of justice, all because the LAPD wasn't held accountable for being racist fucking pigs. If there would have been any accountability, that court case could have gone another way. There wouldn't have been so much vehement, just like hatred towards this horrible institution that obviously has all this racist blah, 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 and all this horrible. I mean, Rodney King is like getting beaten up and all this kind of shit,
They mishandled everything.
And they had a fucking Nazi as one of their like guys that was like it found out is like, oh my god, this one of these guys that's like on trial or like saying like a character witness sort of guy. He's like got Nazi memorabilia and just really like guys.
He's an unbiased source. And then they're like tampering with evidence. The chain of the way that they handle evidence or whatever, they completely fucked it up like multiple times. And it's like, and then going back to him being a rich man, and it's like, well, and then he got this all-star legal team. And but I was kind of arguing with Dad about that. I was like, I mean, it's hindsight. It's like, yeah, they were big names. You have this all. It's like, but that, I don't know. The LAPD and the prosecution team, everyone involved, you have to be pretty bad at this point, looking back, to make Alan Dershowitz still look like a star attorney. That guy's a fucking psychotic moron. I swear to God. Like, I don't know, maybe he's just, I mean, that was 30 years ago, so it's like, he could just be more demented now. But it's like, no, Dershowitz sucks, man. He's greasy, slime ball, Jeffrey Epstein plane flying, disgusting Zionist pig.
I want to say something about Jeffrey Epstein's plane that I didn't realize. Someone called it the Lolita Express, and I laughed because I was like, "Oh, that's crazy! Like that's a funny joke."
That's
because
the name.
I came to realize that Umberto was like, "No, that's the name," and I was like, "What?" Like literally named after the book where the guy is in love with a teenage girl.
Yeah.
Like
named after the insanely famous book that was turned into a famous movie.
I could not even, like, I seriously was in shock for a moment. I was like, are you fucking joking me? They had, like, when I say satire is dead, like, I just, honestly, I really, 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 really thought it was a joke. And why else would anything be named that unless you want to have sex with teenage girls? There is no
Not
other
good.
reason. Exactly.
Death penalty. It's immediate death penalty.
I agree. You name your private plane the Lolita Express that goes to an island where questionable any sort of hint of anything's going on, you're having sex with teenage girls, and that is I don't need a jury. I don't need a trial. I don't need the LAPD involved. Yeah.
I don't need that. Just look at the name of the plane.
It's immediate death penalty.
Genuinely though, I was just shocked I hadn't heard that, and then it was like are you fucking joking me right now? Like straight to
the
jail.
Fact that you
straight to
hadn't
jail.
heard that.
I was exposed as doing a giant fraud.
Yeah. No, I mean that's what sucks with it's how conspiracy theories work. Is the fact that enough of them are so wrong and batshit that it makes the real conspiracies, like actual conspiracies, can just keep going. How it's like, I mean, there was like a couple years of you, because I listen to Come Town constantly, right? So, but listening to old ones where it's getting over the people are like, enough, Nick, with this Pizzagate stuff, where he's like, no, but this stuff is real. He's like, Pizzagate, what sucks is that it's like, no, they weren't in a basement of Comet Ping Pong. That doesn't make it, that, of course that's not real. But this stuff happens. These people are involved in this.
It's called the Lolita Express!
Yeah, and then finally it's like, oh, well, look at that. Actually, yeah, it did. There's a huge, like, all these weirdos with money that get there and they get to do weird stuff as weirdos with money, and they get away with it.
Being
and Jeffrey Epstein
disgusting.
magically dies and supposedly kills himself, and we all just move on with our lives. And if you think about it and bring it up, it's like, well, then you're a conspiracy nut. It's like, no, this shit just, it happened. We all saw. We all know. Like, it's so, it's because of money. It's because of a bunch of
Head bonked individuals.
that's just,
Not good.
and
Fucking
if you start talking about it
losers.
more, people are like, you're strange.
Sounds like you're pretty into this, buddy.
Yeah. I just can't stop thinking
I
about
love Aaron
it.
Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
he's the
sucks.
best.
And you feel so powerless because of just
I am.
systemic
Yeah.
injustice on every level. Yeah, because you're a
You have
weak
no power.
bitch
Yeah.
who won't get anything done. And
Pretty much.
Owned. Consider yourself owned, because you are.
by the elites. Start
Yeah.
looking through all these conspiracies and you
I
just hear
wish.
Lit.
Yeah. If I was owned by the elites, maybe I'd have some cash. You know what I'm saying?
and lit stands for Lolita in Transit. See? It's all coming together. But, yeah. When people can just get away with injustice in front of everyone, and we have to like accept it because we are so powerless in the face of it, it just happens through so many different ways, whether you see someone get away with murder, like we're talking about, when you see a fucking pedophile island like going
literally
for
has
years,
this plane named after the
like,
most
with
famous
the
pedophile book ever written.
yeah, and the president of the United States was flying on it, you know? And
On
it's
the
like,
Lolita Express.
and from that to like basic things like labor protections, wage theft, all that, where it's just like, and you're just powerless to do anything about it. When you know, you have to fly on a Boeing and just have a chance of falling out of the air because they're
No
one
one's
of
looking
the
out for
only
you.
2 companies doing it, and they get to investigate or inspect themselves, and it's all we all just know about it. And what are you going to do about it? When you know,
they
when,
are like that. What are you going to do
all
about
get
it?
fired because you
fly
wanted
spirit?
to unionize. You know, it's just
Capitalism is bad.
yeah. But
I hate Ben Shapiro so much. I hate all these bitches. I'm such you know, that's how I'm feeling.
and when you're feeling, you know, like
When you're feeling down, Mrs. Brown, and things get hard or tough, and when, whatever, you know what song that is? And you feel like you've had quite
For they
enough.
For they starve the little frightened child till it weeps both night and day, and they scourge the weak and flog the fool and gibe the old and gray, and some grow mad and all grow bad, and none a word may say. Oscar Wilde. But
Oscar Wilde, that's the one that I always try to remember his name. That's who some mannerisms of Sherlock Holmes are based off of Oscar Wilde, because Arthur Conan Doyle met him at a dinner party one time, and
that homo
at a party thrown by a socialite. That's what my dream is, to be a socialite.
a socialite.
to throw parties for
I'm a
people
socialite
to get to know
and a
each other, yeah.
philanthropist. I'm a full-on rapist, as Charlie Day would say.
Yeah.
You're a full-on rapist? You know, yeah. You know, handicapped, poor people, women.
I do remember that.
It's like, oh, a philanthropist. You know, you could even think of something from over 100 years ago. For more than 30 years, a small band of parasites has robbed the American people and trampled upon the fundamental principles laid down by the forefathers of this country, guaranteeing to every man, woman, and child life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. For 30 years, they have been increasing their wealth and power at the expense of the vast mass of workers. thereby enlarging the army of the unemployed, the hungry, homeless, and friendless portion of humanity. Tramping the country from east to west and north to south in a vain search for work. For many years, the home has been left to the care of the little ones, while the parents are working their life and strength away for a small pittance. For 30 years, the sturdy sons of America were sacrificed on the battlefield of industrial war, and the daughters outraged in corrupt factory surroundings. For long and weary years, this process of undermining the nation's health, vigor, and pride, without much protest from the disinherited and oppressed, has been going on. Maddened by success and victory, the money powers of this, quote, free land of ours, unquote, became more and more audacious in their heartless, cruel efforts to compete with rotten and decayed European tyrannies in supremacy of power. And that,
Donald
talking about
Trump.
the past 30 years, because she's referring to the Industrial Revolution, because this was written in 1901.
Yeah, that makes
capitalism.
Me feel good. Yeah.
Capitalism is bad.
Yeah.
You know, I just read this book that was... Oh, do you still have more?
Oh, with the minds of the young poisoned with a perverted conception of patriotism and the fallacious notion that we are all equal and that each one has the same opportunity to become a millionaire, provided he can steal the first $100,000. It was an easy matter indeed to check the discontent of the people. One is therefore not surprised when one hears Americans say, "We can understand why the poor Russians killed their czar, or the Italians their king. For think of the conditions that prevail there. But he who lives in a republic where each one has the opportunity to become president of the United States, provided he has a powerful party back of him, why should he attempt such acts? We are the people, and acts of violence in this country are impossible." I was reading about this because... did I cut you off, though? What were you saying before I go into this?
Oh, I was just reading a book. I just finished it the other day. It's called The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. It was really good. It's like about Pennsylvania in the 1930s, this area where it's like these immigrants come, and it's like a neighborhood with black people and Jewish people and Italian people, and just talking about the history. All I know really of Pennsylvania is like about...
Oh, Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, yeah, about like steel mills and things like that. That's kind of what I would associate with it, and it just goes into
coal.
It is an excellent book, but
Cool.
part of it just talking about like factories that make parts for the war and all this kind of stuff, and it was just those things that we know to be true, dumping sludge into creeks, and then people's homes being like 30 feet away from like a steel mill, just like belching disgusting clouds, into the air day in and day out and day in and day out, and like what it does to these communities and who's affected, by it.
And what can they do
all
about
the time?
it?
Yeah. What can you do about it? What do you do? You're a black person in the 1930s. You're going to do something about it? Yeah, you're going to move into a different part of town, huh? They're going to love you there, I bet, where there's KKK marches every year, in the parade or whatever.
See, that's what it reminded me of. So because I was thinking of you, don't take this the wrong way, because of the woman who was just sentenced to prison for credible threats of violence against city council in Bakersfield or whatever it was.
Nice.
But I was thinking of you because, some moron on Twitter, I forget. Oh, that lib guy. Oh my God, this lib guy we all get in arguments with because he hates lefties so much. He's a Joe Biden bro. But anyway, and he's like, oh, why? How come they're not coming to her defense? Oh, you guys are all talk, and then someone actually threatens them, and now she's going to jail, and no one's there to stand up for her. And it's just like, and I even said, I was like, well, because she was threatening city council members. I was like, maybe I'd be trying to defend her if she was about to bomb like an oil billionaire's house or
Hell
something.
yeah. I'd way be
or if it was
behind
like
that.
something
My
that actually
hero.
made a difference, maybe. But even that, it just reminded me of however the fuck you pronounce his name. I'll never get it right, but Schulgatz. Schulgatz?
No.
Anton, was it? I
No
was
one
going to say
cares.
Anton
Yeah.
Chigurh. But
Tupac Shakur? Yeah.
Leon Schulgatz. It's one of those god-awful Polish names with all the C's and Z's and G's.
It's not real.
Yeah. But yeah, it's so American, I can't even pronounce it.
Exactly what I was thinking. With the name so American, I can't even pronounce it.
Where it's like, you know, because he's the guy who assassinated President McKinley.
Mm-hmm.
He was an anarchist, but he was also like kind of off of his rocker a little bit, and just had the wrong idea, thinking that when it came down to it, someone has to do something kind of thing. And then he assassinates the president, and everyone's like, no, we didn't want you to do that. And it did not suddenly create a revolution, right?
But,
Emma Goldman wrote this kind of in defense of him.
Yeah.
Even though, and it's, I wouldn't say half-hearted defense, but way too very straightforward, logical, good and interesting defense of him, even though she was kind of blamed for it, and she had, he was like obsessed with her and had met her even at one point, and she was not on board with all of him. Most people weren't. They were putting out, I mean, anarchist and communist circles had been putting out notices about this guy, like thinking if anything, he might just be like a plant or a spy, rabble-rouser trying to get us all in trouble kind of thing, because he was radical and in the wrong ways, because he was wrong. He assassinated the president, and it did nothing to stop the Industrial Revolution and the exploitation of people.
I feel bad for him, because you know what?
Yeah.
It should have done something. It shouldn't have just been like, oh, he's some psycho. It's like, because you know what? He wasn't wrong to want to do that. We know.
Well, yeah.
Literally, that's what fucking
saying.
happens. Just because that there's, it's like, just because we got paved roads doesn't mean that we're not being oppressed. We're not being crushed under the boot of our government.
she's saying, I just thought that was such a great way of putting it. When she's referring to, I mean, because leading into this is like, why are people so shocked? Why is this what crosses the line? Why is it so just
unforgivable?
This real line, and of course your first reaction is like, well, they shot the president. That's no good.
But it's the president of the United States. It's not the Dalai fucking Lama. It's like some of the worst people you can possibly imagine. You're the president of the United States. You're the worst. You're the worst kind of person.
But that perspective of like, yeah, but we'll sit here and cheer him on when someone uses violence and deposes the czar or a fascist leader or a king. You know,
how about the French Revolution? Anyone
over? And it's like, and honestly, that's kind of where it goes wrong. Is that it's the president. That's not the real ruler in terms of your exploitation and oppression. It's leaders of industry. It's
well, then he better not want to be the head of fucking state, because you know what? When you're the president, it is your fucking problem.
Yeah,
that's your fucking problem. The buck stops with you, little Truman or whoever had that on his desk. It is with you. You're the president.
Yeah, the buck stops here. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll show you where the buckshot stops, and then blam, you blast him. And you go to jail.
All of these American presidents. Anyone who ever said anything nice about Henry Kissinger, straight to jail.
Death penalty. Immediate death penalty.
Fucking stupid F-word bitch.
And let's bring it around town. Back
to the Lolita Express.
OJ and all of that going on. You know how long it took with Leon Schulgatz? And he assassinated the president. They sent him to trial.
Straight to
jail. It was
jail.
like 6 weeks later, he was hanged to death.
They said he was hung.
Got that?
They was right.
Yeah, his dick fell out, and everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe we did that.
Oh my
We should have made
God.
him
Is that
president.
Lyndon Johnson? Yeah.
They're like, well, he can't be president. He didn't even run. And it's just like,
The Constitution could suck me from the back.
look at that. Look at that hog. Look at that.
Look at the hog on that dog.
Yeah, exactly. We're such a good podcast. Oh my
The
God.
best.
Yeah.
That was a really nice one. Thanks, Inane Blather.
Okay.
Thank
well,
you.
thanks
I think
for
I
coming
blew
on
out
with
my
me,
mic a bunch.
even
this
though it's
one, so
late. I think it's fine.
I don't know. Not
No
looking
one
back
really-
at this.
No
I
one
don't
really
care.
listens to this anyway.
Good.
That's why at the end of every show, because no one listens through all the way, no one has called me out on it. You know it. No one else has said anything, but at the end of every show, I just yell,
The N-word!
I
and no
know.
one has said anything. So
It's like,
just goes
you know,
to show we don't even have real fans. Fake fans.
I
Fake
know.
fans,
Even people
fake
who
friends,
say,
haters and losers.
The Marxists, the anarchists.
All those people.
people who
don't
say
even know
it's
what
their
they're doing.
favorite podcast, it's not the best, but it's their favorite. They don't listen to the whole thing because their drive to my house takes only like 40 minutes. And so the podcast isn't usually over by then. So.
Darn. Well, they should listen at 1.25 speed. Perfect.
Yeah, it's probably a lot more fun to, you know.
So thoughtful. So thoughtful.
Exactly. That'd be like, so thoughtful, so thoughtful.
Yeah. All the drops sound better.
And then that would be like, so
everything's
thoughtful, so thoughtful. And that would be like, so thoughtful,
crackling,
so thoughtful. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Suck a dick,
Nice.
dumb shit.
Love you.
Exactly.
Shout
Love
out
you
to
too.
Aaron
Shout
Brown.
out to all the haters and losers
Shout
out there
to all
that
the
are
haters
called our
and
best
losers,
friends. Yeah.
Even on this day, 9/11. Shout out to Mia.
We love you. Shout out to Mia.
To people
There
that...
they go again. My.
And
I like your
Zach
Instagram
and
posts.
Wendy and everybody and Discontent
and
Provider.
Humby and Kelsey and
So
Zach
I did want to shout out
again.
Discontent Provider a couple weeks ago for us talking about Dante's Peak after we brought it up on the podcast. It was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, thanks for bringing up that abomination of a movie or something. It was funny.
Ain't
And I
never
looked up
seen it.
that. I looked up the part that I mentioned on the show where they're outrunning the pyroclastic cloud with the pickup truck.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's like telling the kids, don't look at it. It's like, what does that do? Okay. Thank you, Natalie.
Oh, yeah. That's a beautiful thing. Okay, shout out to Aaron Brown, our Lord and Savior. Okay, I love you. Bye.
Bitches leave.
There. Okay. Love you. Bye.